Hi, it's Dia. Today I'm going to take this image, actually part of this image, from my coloring book, Penelope's Garden, and I'm going to color with the 168 set of Gwanghui colored pencils. And I say that tentatively because I ended up using Gwanghui and a couple Prismacolors and a couple other things, which I'll tell you as I go along. Now, the first color I'm using here is number 45, Gwanghui, and all I'm doing is laying down the base of the candles to see if I actually like the color. And I'm going super light, and I really didn't do anything fancy, so I just sped it right up. Now, I thought that it would be really cool to make the candles a little bit more magical. So rather than making them only glow yellow, I thought it would be great to take 164 and 162, which are both neon colors in that set, and make the flame and the area around the flame sort of, well, not sort of glow, but look like it's glowing with like a nice, fun, witchy Halloween green color. So the flame itself, I used the 164, and the areas around it, I used 162. Now that bottom area, I'm taking some of that 45 purple off with the Tombow Mono Zero eraser because I thought it would be nice, sort of as an afterthought, to have the glow even extend beyond the flame and make that whole image look like it's nighttime. Now today I'm only going to do about, I don't know, 1 inch around on either side because, as we all know, colored pencils take forever. So I thought just the candles, a little bit of Penelope to show the glow, how the glow would affect her. Ooh, now that is a Polychromos pencil. And it's one of my favorite greens. It's grass green, and I thought it would be great to incorporate with the Gwanghui. Now, interestingly enough, I'll be using wax-based, which is Gwanghui, and oil-based, which is Polychromos, and that's another part of the experiment. I want to see how that works out together. Now, I'm going to have a lot to say at the beginning of this video because I'll be telling you the colors and I'll be telling you what I'm doing. And then as the video goes along, I'm going to be going back and forth, going over and over with lots of layers. So we'll see how the video progresses. Now, I'm adding a little bit of a darker green there, or maybe a little, was that the grass green? Yeah, that's the grass green again, but I'm pushing a little bit harder. And once again, I'm making that glow extend beyond the actual candle itself. So I'm going in little tiny circles around and around. And as the glow gets farther from the actual flame, I'm making it slightly darker. You can't really tell right now because everything's so light, and I'm trying to get a feel for where the actual glow would end up. That's the 162 again. And a nice thing about the neon Gwanghui pencils is that once you lay them down, it's kind of hard to go over them, which sounds like a bad thing, but in certain instances, it's really a good thing. Because since it's impossible to go over it, the color lays down all around it. So that area maintains that glowy effect. So you can see what I'm talking about already. I'm going back and forth with the greens and the yellows already. Excuse me. Grass green again. Now this is a Polychromos also, and it's leaf green. And I'm at this this point highlighting, I don't even know if it's highlighting, but accentuating some of the green areas because the glow wouldn't be as bright on the sides of the candle. Also, the wax, as you can tell from the beginning color, is number 45, which is sort of like a purpley lilac. So the wax that's dripping isn't actually green, but it has the illusion that it's green in certain areas because of the reflection from the flame. So later on in the video, you'll see that I incorporate some of the purple back in there for a slightly more realistic look. Filling in some more with the 45, and it's taking me a minute to figure out where I want the purple because I don't want the purple to overshadow the glow. And once you cover over the glowy area, it's kind of hard to get it back, so I'm being a little fussy. Back to grass green again. I'm trying to get an idea of how green that area has to be to make it look like an actual glow. And what I should have done at that point is probably just gone bigger with the glow and not worry about how dark it is. Now I'm taking a darker Gwanghui pencil. This is number 21. And as you can see, I'm coloring some of the wax also because you would still see some of the purple through the glow. I'm leaving, as you can see, a little edge on the left and the right side of the candles because some of that glow, back to the 45, some of that glow from the moon would give an indication that it's sort of like wrapping around the candle. And I leave the center part of the candle also slightly lighter than the edges to give that cylindrical shape. I'm going back and forth between 45, 21, and 105 Gwanghui pencils to make the bodies of those candles. And I do go back and forth so many times with different colors. Oop, I goofed. Tombow Mono Zero to the rescue once again. And going over again with grass green. Sometimes I probably overthink it. But now I'm going even darker. And that one is Gwanghui. Which one is that? Oh, nope. That's 116. Going over once again with the grass green. As the bottom of the candle is getting darker, ooh, this is a Bruynzeel yellow that I love. So I was adding some of that to the greenish areas and to some of the candle wax areas to make it look even more like it's glowing. And I hope I'm saying that wrong. I mean right. Bruynzeel by Sakura. The color is number 21. I actually like those pencils. They're soft, creamy, and lovely. Once again, back to 45, back to the colors that I'm going to be using for the bodies of the candle. This would have been a whole lot easier if I just did it with one candle and I tried to show you how to do this, but it didn't work out this way. I wanted to show an image from the book. So there's several candles, so I had to do it in several different layers. I envy people that can just sort of know what it's going to look like before it even finishes. I'm not that way. I have to go back and forth and figure it out as I go. And as you can see from the amount of erasing I do, I make mistakes, which is fine. Okay, now I'm at 105. Making the outer areas a little bit darker, except for that very thin edge, which I'm eventually going to color in with yellow to reflect the moon. Back to 45. And I haven't used these Gwanghui pencils for a minute. And I have to say, every time I go back to them and I color in a Create Space book, I'm really happy with the results. And I'm just amazed at how they can make those pencils for that price. That's 105. Now I'm taking that same pencil and I'm making it slightly darker underneath where that wax would be, because I feel like there might be a little bit of a shadow because there is some density to the wax. So the light from the candle would cast a shadow in that little area. I'm not going to make it black, but I'll make it darker than the rest of the candle. As I was watching this video, as I was trying to edit it, I realized I do go back and forth, and it might be a little hard for you to follow. And you don't have to follow me exactly. This is kind of how I do my thing and how I figure out the tones I want and the areas that I want in certain colors. Oh, you can see that I'm slightly going over the green now because the glowing area wouldn't be blazingly white, or the colors from the background wouldn't completely disappear, especially from a candle. It's not a very bright glow, although we do want it to appear not shiny. What's the word? We do want it to appear to have like an eerie kind of mysterious glow. I'm making some of that wax look a little bit darker here with the leaf green again. Although this is a complicated image, I tried not to use too many colors so it wouldn't be too overwhelming, because it is kind of different. You usually don't have a green glow coming out of a candle, and I thought it would be cool. I hope you think so too. Now I'm taking that Bruynzeel pencil once again, and I'm coloring in those edges. I think it's a perfect kind of moonish glow yellow. I'm also adding some of that color right to the purple of the candle. I'm not pushing very hard. I'm just trying to make layers. Now I'm taking the darker green, that's the leaf green, and I'm adding it to the perimeter of the glow of the candles. More of that yellow. I'm adding it to the areas in my head that I thought would be more elevated. Now I'm just going to do this real quick. The candles would be emitting a glow. So Penelope is standing close by, so she would have some of the glow, not too much, but on her face, on her hat. And what I'm doing is using 162 and 164 to show where that glow would be from the moon and from the candles. So now I'm taking the 164, which is a little bit darker than the yellow on the very edge, and then the Faber-Castell grass green, which isn't really glowy, Ooh, and I'm giving her a little bit of a glow on any of the areas on her face that would be prominent or stick out a little bit more, like her eyebrows or her little nose. And then use the darker green behind those areas like a shadow. So obviously her skin in this image is going to be green. I'm not going to go over the whole thing. I'll save that for another video. But I just wanted to show you how light would affect the surrounding areas too. And she is in the surrounding area. I'm just going back and forth with those two greens, the grass green and the leaf green. So that area over to the right is the darkest area because it's the furthest from the candle. So it would, although not be in a shadow, it would show a more true green. That's a darker green too. And then as we get closer to her fingertip, which might be closer to the candle, it gets lighter. The other hand can be all a darker green. The edge of her hat is 162 or 164, whatever you like. And I put the same color as the candle. I thought it would be a nice complementary color, the 45 Gwanghui, on that part of her hat. Although I do envision her hat as purple eventually, it was a little bit in the shadow, in the reflection of the candle, so it looks a little bit lighter. Now that part is a little further away, so it's darker. Those areas that I'm coloring with the 162 would probably get a bit of a reflection from the moon and the candle, so they also were lighter. Now I'm just using the Gwanghui 155 and the 70 for her hair. I'm not going to really do a wonderful job right now. I'm just going to show you how the reflection can work with the hair and the shadows. Now that is a little bit darker because it's under the brim of her hat. And I wasn't sure that the other side would get any kind of light, so I just left it. Meaning without any highlights. I'm going back over the areas now with the Gwanghui purples. I kind of go back and forth with 105, 21, and 116. Now I'm taking that 164 green from the Gwanghui and I'm going over the edge of the table because I thought that the table would be a really nice, mysterious blue glass in my head, I thought. So the reflection, at least on the edges, would be that same glowy green, and then possibly in the front a little more yellow because of the moon. Now I'm going in with some blues for shadows. The first color I used there was 89. I eventually added more blues and even a purple, and you can use any colors that you want. Very close to the bottom of the candles, I also added black for even more depth. I'm using 89 for the rest of the table. I just didn't push as hard. It's a really nice kind of almost navy ocean blue. Now I'm pushing a little harder, going over that shadow area once again. I went back and forth many times here. Oh, and now I'm coloring the edges. I'm coloring some of it blue and leaving some of it white. I wasn't sure what the reflection would be doing. Oh, now I took 164, which is that neon color, and I added some grass. Well, you can see some indications of grass there in black, but I thought some of the grass would be reflecting the candlelight, so I didn't go nuts. I just did a few little highlighted areas. And then I took leaf green and I started to color and I wasn't really crazy about it. It was too summery. So then I went in with a Gwanghui green, number 5. And that added some depth to it. Right when I got near that lightning bug, I was kind of hesitant about what to do. And then I decided to make him glow also, but a slightly different color. So I used that Bruynzeel yellow, number 21 again, and kept on coloring the background. Now, you can see that Gwanghui green just sort of stands out right through it, even though I go directly over it, which is really cool. I just took the Gwanghui black and made those legs look like wrought iron. Now I'm taking a darker Gwanghui color. That one is a deep teal. That's number 89. The barrel of the pencil looks very navy blue, so don't be surprised when you use it and it looks a little bit more, oceany. So as you can tell, I'm pushing a little bit harder, and that grass still shows through, and I'm speeding this up also because you don't have to see me do every nook and cranny. Or maybe you want to, I don't even know. So I'm coloring over some of that glowy area now that I had left very light before, because you would still see some of the grass behind it. It's kind of a muted, kind of mysterious glow. And I'm bringing some of that bluish green, that teal, into the area because I don't want it to look like flat and like just an orb. I want it to look like the light is flickering and glowing. Plus, flames move. That's why they're so riveting. It's so riveting to stare at a fire. And this is sort of a witchy, wizardy kind of glow. So I don't want it to I don't want it to appear static. Oop, let me see what color that is. Now this is number 43, and once again, the barrel is a little deceptive. If you look at this one, the barrel looks very purple, and then when you use it, it's like a perfect blue. Sorry, I kind of went a little over the edge here. Now I'm going over number 43 with 77, which is another teal. I'm not being super neat because I know I'm going to go over with, I think I'm actually going to use the Prismacolor blender over the top of all this. Now I'm going back and forth between 89 and 43 to get a really dark grassy area. You know, I have a little spooky story. I know it's close to Halloween, but I don't even know if I have time. There's so much going on here. So right about here, I decided I was going to grab the black. Let me see, what's black in Gwanghui. No, it's 12. And form sort of a line of demarcation where the shadows started and the light from not the reflection, the light from the candle glow sort of faded. So I went right over the top of the other green area and closer to Penelope and underneath the table, I started to make what I thought would be a darker area. And I think I said this before, where the table is blue glass, so there would probably be a shadow beneath. So it still looks a little rough around the edges right now. And I have my fingers crossed that the Prismacolor blender will smooth that out. Now I walked away for a minute and I came back and I realized that the glow around the candles was too glowy. It was too white and bright and light. And I wanted it to be more like spooky and eerie. So I went in with the darker Prismacolor green, which is leaf green. And I started to color relatively hard around the perimeter. And I kept going, and the more green that I put there, the more I liked it. I left the very light area right around the flame, but I kept going darker and darker. And the more green there was there, the better I liked it. I started to put a little green in that shadow area, and that was probably the wrong thing. Not the end of the world, I just left it. And then I went back over that area again with the black. You know, I'll probably be able to tell you my slightly creepy story during the blending area when I use the colorless blender later on. So adding that black to me defined the glow a little bit better, and it defined the shadows a little bit better, which is very important in any image. I'm just going a little bit darker around the edges. Oh, time for blending. So all I'm going to do is take that colorless blender and push pretty hard and start to see how it works. And it worked really well. So my quick story for this season involves Lambert's Castle, which is in Paterson, New Jersey. And I went with a friend one night, and all we wanted to do was to see, because we heard that it was getting renovated and they had put these lanterns outside that were actually fire lanterns. So we were all excited. So we looked around. It was pitch black, and as kids do, I guess I was 18 or whatever, we started to climb the front of the castle. There were stairs on the face of the castle, and then there was an area around one of the round parts of the building, and someone came out from behind the building, complete in a black hood and a robe. We couldn't see a face. We didn't care. We ran for the hills, and we looked back and we bolted to the car. And that was when we used a key for the car. We got in the car, jumped in, and took off. And when we looked back up, there was nobody there. And it wasn't like we saw a ghost. There was a person obviously dressed there either to scare us, or something nefarious was going on back there. So I don't recommend going to Lambert's Castle at midnight with just one other person or ever. Don't do that. So that was pretty scary. And we lived through it, so it makes for a great story. So as you can see, that blender blended all those colors together and made the black around the perimeter. It just looks very, very nice. I really like the way this turned out. You can still see those light green blades of grass that are reflecting some of the glow. Yes, it took a minute to do it, but all the layers are always worth it. And I've said this 100 times before, but if you don't like your picture, you're probably not done. So just keep doing it. And if you have my books and you're doing pictures, I would love to see them. And if you're not already in my Facebook group and in my coloring gallery, I would love to invite you and have you there because I would love to see your work. So now I'm just going over the candles and blending all the purples together. The purples, the lilacs. That's working out very nicely too. Oop, sharpening. So I was thinking that I would love to do a live color along for Halloween like I had mentioned in my coloring group, but I'm not quite sure I know how to do it. So I have contacted a few people to see if I can get this done. And I'm wondering, would you want to work on this image as a download? Or would you like to work from something different? Let me know. I would love to know what you think. We can continue here. We can work on the flowers. We can work on Penelope or the rest of the image or something completely new. So I thought it would be interesting to add, I don't know, like glowing little orb areas. So I try to take that Tombow Mono Zero pencil. Nope. It was way too late. Way too many layers. It didn't even make a dent. So what I thought I was going to do is use a green gel pen, but it wasn't quite working. So I took this Pen Touch paint pen, and it didn't really stay that white, but it made for a nice sort of base. And after it dried, I was able to go back in with this alien green eerie kind of color and went right over the top of the white dots with these glowing kind of green dots. And then strangely enough, I don't know if it was one of those things where it just had to get started, I was able to color or draw on top of the regular colored pencil areas. So I don't know, maybe I had to go over it first with that Prismacolor blender, but now it's fine. So I thought this was really fun. I really liked the way this came out. I hope you do too. And if you have any suggestions about what you want, like I said, meaning for that color along tomorrow, let me know. And once again, I'm glad you're all here. I had a lot of fun with this today, and I want to continue doing this, maybe tomorrow for Halloween. And no, actually the next day's Halloween. So I want to continue doing this maybe for the color along tomorrow for Mischief Night. And then we'll have that done by Halloween. So once again, thank you again. And I hope you subscribe to me. If you like my videos, give me a like and find me on Facebook. So that's about it. Once again, if I don't see you or have another video by then, have a lovely Halloween, and I'll talk to you all soon. Bye.